What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. WBO welterweight champion Terrence "Bud" Crawford, who I have number one on the pound for pound list. Now, Canelo Alvarez is universally recognized as the number one pound for pound fighter. I beg to differ. I think Crawford's number one, Canelo's number two, and Spencer's number three. I think after those three boxers, it's a drop off when you talk about number 4 and number 5 in the pound for pound rankings. With all that being said, ever since he defeated Shawn Porter, people have been speculating about what would Terrence "Bud" Crawford do now that his contract has ran out with Top Rank Boxing. What would he do? Now, we seen Terrence Crawford on Instagram, I believe. It might have been Twitter. I believe it was Instagram. He was out there in the ocean, you know, calling out Errol Spence Jr. Right after that video, it was probably less than a week after that video, Errol Spence Jr. and your Danish Ugas came to agreement for a unification fight at 147 pounds. So that fight, at least as far as being next for Terrence Crawford, fell by the wayside. Now, you saw these YouTube channels out here in these YouTube streets start bringing out possible opponents for Terrence "Bud" Crawford. The first name that people wanted to bring up was Jerron "Boots" Ennis. See, in this video, we're going to talk about Terrence "Bud" Crawford's next fight. What is his options? What is his real options? You got some people out here saying Jerron "Boots" Ennis should be a guy that Terrence "Bud" Crawford looks at as his next opponent. There's a lot of different reasons why that fight is not going to be next. One of the main reasons why that fight is not going to be next is Jerron "Boots" Ennis is not going to go the WBO route, I don't believe. I think he's going to go the IBF route. You got to understand, he's ranked number 2 in the WBO. But if I'm not mistaken, he's ranked number 2 in the WBC. If I'm not mistaken, I think Virgil Ortiz is ranked number 1, right? It was Shawn Porter. He was ranked number 1 in the WBC and ranked number 1 in the WBO. He went the WBO route, so he fell from the rankings in the WBC after the Crawford fight. It might even been before the Crawford fight. I can't remember. But with all that being said, he's definitely in the top 2 in the WBO and the IBF. I believe him and his team is going to go the route of the IBF. Number 1, Jerron "Boots" Ennis is aligned to Showtime. Terrence Crawford is a free agent. Used to be aligned with Top Rank Boxing, which had an exclusive deal with ESPN. Now, a lot of people say, well, damn, Terrence "Bud" Crawford, he need to go call a meeting with Al Heyman and discuss probably signing a multi-fight deal with the PBC. And I'm here to tell you that Terrence "Bud" Crawford is a great fighter. In the ring, his skills are second to none. Make no mistake about it. But as far as a draw and the money that he's going to command, which is going to force him to go to pay-per-view, and him on pay-per-view has not made money, it's lost money according to Bob Arum, and the PBC is not going to be eager to sign Terrence Crawford to any kind of deal, because Terrence Crawford going to want similar money to what he got at Top Rank. He's not coming to PBC to take a pay cut, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to tell you that. And the money that he gonna command, which has forced a lot of fighters that fight under the PBC to go to pay-per-view. Keith Thurman against Mario Barrios. That's the reason why he ain't on free TV. Because the money that he gonna command, the purse that he gonna demand, is gonna push him to pay-per-view. Let me put it to you like this. Terrence Crawford, if he was fighting Mario Barrios instead of Keith Thurman, how many pay-per-view buys you think that fight will do? He did 130K with Shawn Porter. Now, that fight was not promoted well at all, in my opinion. Outside of putting that fight up under the ESPN shows on ESPN, you saw Crawford versus Porter. But outside of that, they didn't do any kind of promotional videos, or they didn't have Shawn Porter and Terrence Crawford doing First Take or doing the ESPN morning shows and promoting the fight. They ain't had none of that going on. All they did was put Crawford and Porter at the bottom of the ESPN screen. That's all they did. So I don't think that helped sell the fight, which was a very good fight, a very significant fight in the welterweight division. But just say they put Terrence Bud Crawford versus Mario Barrios on Fox pay-per-view. How many buys you think that fight will do? I think it won't sell as much as Thurman and Barrios gonna sell. So you gotta understand that Thurman, who is not the fighter that Terrence Bud Crawford is. I think he's a top 5 welterweight one time, but he's not number 1 or number 2 that I would have Crawford along with Errol Spence Jr. He's not that highly rated, but he's got a good mouthpiece. He knows how to sell a fight. He helped sell the Manny Pacquiao fight that did $600K. He knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to promote a fight. He knows how to do the interviews and say the catchphrases that's going to help sell a fight. Even though he says a lot of stuff and people get mad at him and say, oh man, he ain't go again talking all that noise. He'll have this fight, get injured. You won't see him for another year and a half. You know, but he going to have people tuning in to watch Keep One Time Thurman fights. He knows how to sell a fight. He has the gift of gab. That's the stuff that the great Muhammad Ali had. Floyd Mayweather Jr. had this. Tyson Fury has this. Deontay Wilder has this. You know, Adrian Broner had this. Has this. Or had this. I don't know if he retired or back training. You know, you don't never know about Adrian Broner. You know, one day he retired, one day he back in training. You know what I'm saying? No telling what he gonna do. You know, I know when his money dry up, which he might already have, he gonna fight again. That's neither here nor there. The bottom line is Terrence Crawford is not a pay-per-view attraction. And the money that he will command will force him to go to pay-per-view. So that's why I believe that PBC, even if Terrence Bud Crawford will call them and want a meeting, would not do any kind of multi-fight deal. They would probably say, you can come over here and fight one of our fighters, and you know, we will give you this amount of money, and you know, and this will be on this particular platform, whether it be on regular Showtime or Showtime pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't be the money that he made over there with Top Rank Boxing. Best believe that. So I don't see that happening. I think he's going to do what you call window shopping, that being Terrence Crawford. He's going to look for the best deal. But again, Boots Ennis, I don't think it's going to be the next fight. I believe he's going to go the IBF route and go after the Errol Spence Jr. fight. Now, when you look at Victor Ortiz has a fight set up with a southpaw, Michael McKinson from the UK. He's got a record of 21 wins, 0 losses, 2 KOs. So he's feather-fisted. He's the Paulo Malignaggi of the welterweight division. With him fighting a southpaw, which is Terrence Bud Crawford's a southpaw, I think him and his team is getting ready to fight Terrence Bud Crawford in the latter part of 2022. But that won't be his next fight. What are you going to do, sit on the sideline and wait for Victor Ortiz to fight McKinson, which is going to take place in the spring of 2022? That'll put him on the sideline. Now, I know that Terrence Bud Crawford's manager / trainer, Bomac, said, look, man, Terrence Bud Crawford is resting. Leave him alone about who he's supposed to be fighting next, or, you know, trying to set up the Boots Ennis fight. He's resting. But I'm like, damn, Bomac, you act like he done ran, you act like he fought 3 times last year or something. The man that fought, what, once in the last year and a half? When he fought Carol Brook, that fight was like in November, wasn't it, of 2019, what was it, 2020? And then he fought Sean Porter at the tail end of 2021. So he was out of the ring for damn near a year and a half. That's like 2 fights in a little over a year and a half. You understand what I'm saying? Damn near 2 fights in 2 years. So he ain't been active, so I don't know what you're talking about with all this rest. With all that being said, Victor Ortiz is not next. He has a fight lined up with McKinson. Maybe Golden Boy feels, based on his performance against McKenzie, if he looks at very good in that performance, maybe they set up the fight with him and Terrence Bud Crawford afterwards. But that'll be at the earliest the summer of 2022. So he's out the equation. The guy that I believe has a strong possibility, and from everything I'm hearing through the grapevine, has a strong possibility of being Terrence Bud Crawford's next opponent is Sandor Martin, who's ranked number 4 in the WBO. Now, he's also ranked in the super lightweight division. He's ranked number 4 in the WBC and number 4 in the WBA. You know, when he fought Michael Garcia, which was one of the biggest upsets of 2021, that fight took place at a catch weight. So he's set up to fight in both weight classes. So he's going to be looking for the bag. I don't see too many big fights that hit for him at super lightweight. I see some tough fights for him at super lightweight. You got some guys that are really making some noise at 140 pounds. Montana Love. You still got the Jose Ramirez, Jose Pedraza winner. So there's some possible fights for him out there, but those are not going to earn him the amount of money that he might be looking for than a fight with Terrence Crawford. Sandor Martin is a southpaw, so that fight would be a very interesting fight. You have two southpaws fighting against each other. You know, he has no power. He's what you call a boxer, a very fundamentally sound boxer that looks to control distance on the outside. Terrence Crawford, to make that fight exciting, would have to step to Sandor Martin. So that'd be a very interesting fight. I don't think he has the power to keep Terrence Crawford off of him. I think it would just be a matter of time before he get knocked out. But he does have a big victory over Mikey Garcia, a former pound-for-pound fighter. So I think that's the likely fighter for Terrence Crawford. Either that or Josh Taylor. Now, Josh Taylor has a fight with Jack Cottrell February 26th. And if he gets through that fight will take place in the super lightweight division. If he gets through that fight, it's been rumblings that he's going to move up. If he moves up, he can petition the WBO to make him mandatory contender for Errol Spence, for Terrence Crawford's WBO title. That would set the stage for that fight. But the problem with that is Terrence Crawford is not signed with Bob Arum. I believe Bob Arum will want Terrence Crawford to fight Josh Taylor in the UK. Josh Taylor is Bob Arum's fighter. So he's going to try to put his fight in an advantageous position. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires as far as that goes. Will Terrence Crawford be willing to go to the UK? I think Bob Arum will have to open up the vault and pay him a lot more than he paid him, even up under that top-ranked ESPN contract that he had with the company. I think they're going to have to up the ante for whatever they made. We had a guaranteed million or $3.25 million. That was a guaranteed million. That was the lowest he could make. Some fights, like the fight with Amir Khan, he made $5.5. So he's going to want at least $6 to go to the UK to fight Josh Taylor. But I remember the time when they were speculating about him and Amir Khan before that fight got finalized. They was asking Terrence Crawford, would he be willing to go to the UK and fight Amir Khan? He said, hell no. His manager, Bomac, said, hell no. We're not going to the UK. We're the champion. He need to come see us here. They said the same thing with the Kell Brook fight when they was talking about maybe that fight could go to the UK. It's like, hell no. We're the champion. So would they do the same thing and say, hell no. We're not going to the UK to fight Josh Taylor. He's moving up to fight for our titles, for my title. If you let Terrence Crawford tell it. He's moving up to fight for my title. He's going to fight me here in a good old USA. If that's the case, Bob Arum then might want to go into another direction. Might say, look here, the fight is just not as financially appeasable in the US compared to the UK. The money is much greater in the UK than in the US. You know, I've lost a lot of money on you, Terrence Crawford, fighting in the US. I lost a lot of money. Josh Taylor doesn't have a strong following here in the US. Look at his last fight with Jose Ramirez, which was a big fight in the junior welterweight division. That was for the Ring Magazine title. That was for the top dog in the junior welterweight division. And that fight took place in a small arena in front of a small crowd. So he's not shown to be the draw. That was his only fight there, maybe. And his fight with Jack Cottrell is back over there in the UK. So I think especially if he does good numbers over there in the Jack Cottrell fight, which I'm hearing is, you know, that fight's not sold out. It's close to being sold out. So they would be much more advantageous for top-ranked boxing for that fight to be over there in the UK. So he would have to make a decision maybe to take that opportunity to go in the UK, or maybe look at the Sandor Martin fight. Now, Sandor Martin, the last fight was on the Zone. I don't think he's promoted by any major promoter. Now, his last fight was up under Matchroom Boxing, but I don't know if Eddie Hearn had any kind of futures on him based on, you know, if he defeated Mikey Garcia, that he would have to do his next fight with Matchroom Boxing. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't heard if that's the case, but maybe that is the case. But I would think they didn't have any kind of I think he is with Matchroom Boxing, because before that fight, the way Eddie Hearn was talking about that fight, he seemed to say that, you know, we found the fighter, Sandor Martin. You know, we had to kind of look, you know, a lot of people wanted the Regis Prograis fight, but we had a fighter that we could line up with Mikey Garcia. It was a fight that we could put together during these economic times due to the COVID-19. You know, that fight between Garcia and Prograis was just too expensive. So, you know, I had another fighter that I could set the fight up with. So the way he made it seem, that Sandor Martin was signed to him. Now, if that's the case, you know, that fight might be hard to make. Maybe Eddie Hearn say Sandor Martin for his other prize welterweight, that being Conor Benn. You know what I'm saying? He's got Mikey Garcia over there that who can kind of swing between the welterweight and the junior welterweight division. He could be a possible opponent for Conor Benn or a possible opponent for Devin Haney. So maybe that's not a possibility. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. With all that being said, Terrence Crawford options are very, very limited. And I think he's basically down to two options, two real options. That being Sandor Martin and that being Josh Taylor. And even those two options have obstacles as far as actually happening for Terrence Crawford. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. But Ron Boots Ennis, as his next fight, is not happening, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Thurman has a fight lined up with Barrios. Will he be willing to wait 8 months for a Thurman fight? And he might wait 8 months for nothing. Because Thurman can fight Barrios, and if Terrence Crawford insists on 50-50 with Errol Spence Jr., Thurman could be the next opponent for Errol Spence Jr. Or Errol Spence Jr. can fight the winner of Stoyanis and Batuvel. Errol Spence Jr. has the leverage, ladies and gentlemen, either way you look at it. He don't need Bud Crawford as much as Bud Crawford needs him. I'm not saying, I'm saying it in this regard. I'm not saying, y'all know people gonna say, wait a minute, JB, what you talking about? They both need each other. This is the biggest fight in boxing. What I'm saying is, Errol Spence Jr. has options. Errol Spence Jr. has done the bigger numbers. But besides all that, he has options. He's got Keith one-time Thurman. I know he said he ain't going to give him an opportunity because he did give him an opportunity when he was in the catbird seat, the proverbial catbird seat. Now that he's in the catbird seat, he's going to do him dirty just like he felt he did him. With all that being said, if he wants to, he's going to have to fight Errol Spence Jr. I mean, he's going to either have to fight Keith one-time Thurman, which is a big money fight for Errol Spence Jr. It's a pay-per-view fight, or fight the winner of Stoyanis Batuvel. And that fight, they can throw it on pay-per-view, but how well will it do? They're going to have to lower the money, that's for sure. It can't be no $80 pay-per-view. It's going to have to be in the same price range of the Luis Ortiz-Charles Martin fight, which was $39.99. That means that'll lower the purse for Errol Spence Jr. Will he be willing to do that? You know, like I say, these fighters used to making a certain amount of money. And he's going to go from your Danis Ugas to, which he probably making, what you say, at least $5 million. He's going to be willing to go down and fight Butaviv, Stoyanis winner for maybe 2.5. I would doubt if he'd be willing to do that. He's going to want to stay in the same neighborhood that he's been living in. He don't want to downgrade. He don't want to go from the penthouse to the outhouse. He don't want to go from living in a 2-story house to going down, moving to another neighborhood, living in a 1-story house. You know what I'm saying? So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But he has the leverage, ladies and gentlemen. Terrence Crawford is a guy that's, only good thing about it is he's free from top-ranked boxing, but as far as options goes, and he's free and clear to kind of negotiate. He's not tied down to any promoter, so he can talk to anybody he wants to talk to. But his options are very, very limited. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Twitter, JBsports3303, and let me know what you think Terrence Crawford's next move should be. I laid out the options, the real options, as far as his next opponent. Let me know your thoughts about, will Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford actually ever get made? And for that to happen, I think Terrence Crawford's going to have to swallow his pride and take the 40%. With all that being said, let me know what you think about the #1 guy on the pound-for-pound list. In my opinion, Terrence Crawford should do in his real option. What should you prefer? Sandor Martin, fresh off an upset victory over Mikey Garcia, or Josh Taylor, undisputed at 140 pounds, and he will be fresh off a victory over the #1 contender in the WBO, Jack Cottrell. Let me know your thoughts, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.